Hi, welcome. Let's play Breath of the Wild wrong so we can learn some more about it. So I wanted to come back to Breath of the Wild because I learned a few more new things, some of them just while editing the previous video I made, and also because a lot of you made some really clever observations and had some thoughts in the comments that I kind of wanted to address and dig a little bit further into. The first thing I wanted to point out is that it can, in fact, rain on the starting plateau once you have left it. There's full weather here now, and that leads to one of the discoveries I had while editing the video. And it's really obvious in retrospect. I now know the real reason why the sequence at the beginning where the tower emerges out of the ground is pre-rendered. And it is pre-rendered, by the way. Somebody in comments dug into the game via emulation, and they found that there is actually like a movie file involved there. So yes, confirmed that is, at least in part, a pre-rendered sequence, which makes sense. So you may recall that in that first video, I had also noticed that, hey, time of day doesn't seem to be changing in this early part of the game. That's interesting. And I had assumed that that must be because they wanted to really control the light in those early minutes of the experience so that they could really just shape that first impression of the world. And that may still be the case partly. I also noticed that, hey, it's not raining either in these early hours. And I assumed that the reason for that was that they didn't want to add in additional complicating factors during these early hours of exploration while the player was learning the ropes. And I think that that's also one of the big reasons too. But while editing that video, I realized the, in retrospect, very obvious reason why all of those things are the way they are. See, because for whatever performance or technical reasons, that cutscene sequence has to be pre-rendered. A pre-rendered video is going to play back the same way and look exactly the same every single time, so it cannot include any variable elements in it. This is why Link is not present in the pre-rendered segment of that cutscene, because Link could show up to that cutscene wearing anything. He could be wearing this stupid Nintendo Switch shirt, with any one of the different weapons that are available this early in the game, and any one of the different shields. A pre-rendered video cannot account for all of those different variants, and pre-rendered videos are way too big of files to just render out a version for every single possible combination of clothing or gear or whatever Link might have, so the simple solution is simply don't have Link visible in that scene anywhere, at least not the pre-rendered part. And it's the same reason why time of day and weather don't change before that point, because that pre-rendered cutscene clearly shows a beautiful, sunny, clear day. If I showed up to the cutscene right now in my silly Nintendo Switch t-shirt while it was raining, and then it showed a cutscene with Link in a beige shirt and sunny, clear skies, that would feel quite wrong. And so the easiest, simple solution to that is don't include Link in the cutscene, and do not change time of day or weather until after that cutscene happens. Again, feels super obvious in retrospect. Another thing which I figured out, and I feel silly for not noticing this at the time, I was wondering why sometimes Link wouldn't play this little pickup animation with his arm putting something in his pocket under certain conditions. And I wondered, like, oh, is it just like the size of the item? I know it doesn't happen when he's holding a weapon. The thing is, I was unwittingly still holding a weapon half the time I was showing that off, and that's why you're not seeing it right now. No animation. Put that away. Animation. Is there someone that plays when he's like actively running and moving? Because I don't think so. I'm guessing that's going to... Oh, okay. It still does like an upper body additive animation while the lower body still keeps doing its thing. Cool. Okay. Probably not during a sprint though, right? Oh, wow. It even does. He even stops swinging his arms. Neat. I gotta find a town. Or someplace where I can cook food. The rain put out all the fires on the plateau. And there we go. Dang. I don't even have that many hearts. And I don't expect to. So, the other main thing that I wanted to talk about today, this is kind of the most interesting thing that I feel like most of the comments were talking about, and that I actually missed some... I kind of missed all of it, honestly, in the previous video, is idle fidgets. Because they do exist in this game, but they're still weird. And so I want to spend some time really digging into that because that's interesting to me, and hopefully to literally anyone else. So, here is our guy back in the clothing we started out with, that we first found where we woke up. And I'm just going to leave him here for as long as it takes. And Carrie, if you don't mind kind of keeping track of how long he's been standing still. Until literally anything happens. How long do we have to wait before Link does anything other than just his standing idle. There it is. My boy. Why on earth are you waiting that long to show a single sign of life? That is bonkers. I cannot off the top of my head think of another game character in a game in the last 10 years that waits that long to do an idle fidget. That's kind of wild. So let's talk about idle fidgets a bit. The whole purpose of an idle fidget, and I think we talked about this a little before, but just to review, the whole purpose of an idle fidget is just to make it so your character doesn't feel quite as much like a puppet, so where they have a little bit more of a sign of life and character to them. And this is especially important when that character is like an actual character and not just a blank slate, like, game piece in the game, right? Because that's like one of their best opportunities for expression. It's an action they can do that is not something that you are making them do. And if you're not making them do anything, then that's kind of an opportunity for them to do something like this. Kind of just like, all right, yeah, like show that they are their own person for just a short little bit. And a lot of games have done this for a long time. I feel like Sonic is the first, like, famous example, the earliest famous example. I'm sure there are earlier examples than that, but one of the early famous ones. I'm wondering if he has a different one for just standing here like this. Because, like, I know the answer. I know he has, actually, a lot of different idle fidgets. The thing is, they are all contextual, which is interesting. So the reason that I'm surprised that it takes so long for him to do anything is that this is just a very long amount of time to be standing in one place, having your character just stand like it feels unnatural and not like a person or a human being to stand this long when they are not when they're not intentionally standing still and attentive. To just stand like this, eyes straight forward, as if they are a guard. Which he is. He is a royal, again, you could kind of make the argument. All right, he's a royal knight or a royal guard. I don't remember what the exact title was. So standing still for a long time when on duty makes a lot of sense. And hey, he's an amnesiac as well. Maybe this is like one of the few things that he sort of like muscle memory remembers and knows. You can make an argument. Like, I don't think it's a very compelling argument. I don't think it's a reason enough that it should be like this instead of another better way. But you can at least make an argument for this particular link that you couldn't make for a lot of other characters, justifying why it is like this. It still feels like a real big missed opportunity to me, though, especially the fact that he's only doing one. Like, I've left him standing here, and he has fidgeted 3 times, and it's the same fidget every single time. And that's weird to me. Because it's pretty common these days for your main character in a third-person modern AAA game to have a lot of different idle fidgets. And it'll be pretty hard to tell like where the idle ends and the fidget begins a lot of times. Characters will just be standing around, and they won't be doing like lots of movement. They don't have to do something really attention-grabby like Sonic tapping his foot and looking out the camera at you. It can just be small little things like shifting their weight a little bit to either side. Like looking around the environment a little bit. Stretching or kind of like rolling their shoulders. Little stuff that Link is doing here, but doing that sooner and a little more frequently in a more varied fashion. It is just wild to me that they make Link wait this long before showing even a tiny bit of character. Because he is a character. Like, if you look at a game like Dark Souls, in the Dark Souls games, as far as I know, there is no idle fidget on those characters at all. And in part, that's because those are characters which they very much want to be sort of like the player's self-insert. This is your custom character who you created, you named them. They do not have a personality outside of you. And beyond that, They don't have a personality at all. They are basically a walking zombie artificially brought back to life. They are a husk of a human. And so them showing signs of life in Dark Souls, even though they could do it and it'd probably be fine, I think that's a game where you actually can justify, like, no idle fidget. These are just like weird, blank bodies that are up and alive. Not really thinking or feeling all that much, not expressing. They are just there, and you're controlling them, going in this space. They're just a vessel for you. They're a vessel in general. Link is not that. He's kind of that. He's got less expressed personality than a Mario, or a Sonic, or an Aloy, or an Arthur Morgan, or lots of these other third-person characters. But he is still a person. He has a name. Characters in this world know him. And so, like, he is his own person. And that can be a very stoic, quiet, not very super expressive person. But that's the thing. Even that kind of person in real life, like, there's a very big difference between a completely blank, empty vessel, like a Dark Souls character, and a person who is quiet or fairly stoic or calm, like who's just fairly reserved. Because those people do still show, like, signs of life. They have their own expressions. They're just smaller. They're more contained, and they're more specific. That's still characterization. An absence of characterization is not the same thing as, like, as a quiet person. You know, I'll ramble about that more another time, because right now I want to talk about the other idle fidgets Link has. Let's do that. Because Link does have more than one. The thing is, they are all contextual, which is the kind of interesting part of this. They will change depending on what Link is wearing and where Link is. And that's a cool thing to do. A lot of games do that as well, and that's another great way to make the character feel more aware of their environment. For example, if we were to remove Link's shirt, Link will play, eventually, a different idle fidget. There we go. He'll check out his muscles. See, that's cute. And that's a bit of characterization there, too. Like, that's him being a little bit of a goofball. You are dressing him like a goofball out in this open world in the elements, and he is reflecting your choice in his behavior and how he would act in that situation. That's the great kind of characterization that animation can do. Even silly little secret hidden animations like this one. They're all things that inform you more about the character you're playing. I do wonder if you have shirt, but not the pants or shorts or anything, does he do anything different for that, or is it just the standard one? Nope, just the standard one. Okay, fair enough. All right, so I know Link has a variety of other ones as well. I do wonder if, like, if this shirt, for whatever reason, would have its own unique one. Let's find out real quick. I know he's got some other special little... Well, I don't actually even know if they are idle fidgets or if they are just kind of things that happen, but he's got a bunch of other special ones for the unique DLC. Well, maybe they weren't all DLC. Unique pieces of gear he can wear, like weird, like the Majora's Mask, or the little Kokiri mask, or the other specific costumes. Sometimes he will have a unique animation that goes with those as well, and that's kind of a fun little bonus that not a lot of players will probably see, but it's like a fun little bonus to throw in. Nope, standard. Fair enough. All right, well, I know he has another different fidget if you are crouched. And I can't believe I have to wait this long to see each one. See, that's cute. It's like a little tiny bug, maybe like an ant crawled on his hand, and he was like, hey, get off. And he got a little distracted there. And that's really cute. What a cute detail. Hey, we're about to get some rain here. I wonder if there's a unique rain weather one, because that's where a lot of the other unique idle fidgets come in for different environmental conditions. Extreme cold, extreme heat. Rain, maybe. We'll find out. Bats, no. I'm trying to... No. Go away. I'm doing a thing. Oh, nothing for rain. I'm a little surprised. Well, I do know he's at least got one for being cold. Because it's chilly out here. This is like one of his most expressive animations in the game. It's ever so cute. And see, he's got a fidget which plays way faster for this one. Because you're a lot less likely to stand still and survive for the amount of time it would take otherwise to see the animation. Let's see. I made a bunch of food. Let's eat some food and not die. Back to freezing, though. See, I feel like the idle fidget wouldn't have to play this fast for just, like, normal standing out in standard temperatures and all that. It wouldn't have to come out quite that quickly, but it would make a lot more sense to me to see life out of this boy. I'm pretty sure there's also one for dozing off when it's late at night, but I don't know how late at night it has to be. There he goes. Dozing off just a little bit. Does he keep looping on that? Oop. No, eventually he snaps out. See, that's cute. And that one specifically makes sense as one to have take a while. It's like, wait, if it's like after midnight or after 1 a.m. or something, and the player leaves Link standing around for more than a minute, have him kind of start dozing a little bit. Maybe he doesn't doze off completely like that, but he does a little bit. That's one that makes sense to take a bit longer, other than just like rolling your shoulders or just sort of like looking around even. And they've also got animations for times of intense heat. And there's that fidget there. There's even a crouched variant, I'm pretty sure. Might just be, just his face expression, possibly. Yeah, will he, like, wipe his face if he's crouched? Or just grimace? Yep, just the grimace. That's fine. And I believe it would be a little tricky to actually get out there, I think, at this point of the game, that if you're standing in the, like, intense heat of the, like, lava volcano area, there's a different version of the, like, overheated animation for that space. It's all really cool. It's just one of those absences that confuses me a little bit. One of the many characterization or absence of characterization details in Breath of the Wild that I'm wondering about their intent with, because they clearly made a lot of different unique animations for unique scenarios, idle fidgets included. They have all of those different fidgets for times of day and weather and all that, but they have one standard one that takes what feels like at least a full minute for him to actually do. And it's the same one every time, unless you're wearing a, like, really rare piece of equipment. And then they made a bunch of animations for that, which seems, like, cool, but also there's, like, it leaves our boy standing there like a robot as the default, which seems to me like a problem. If I was going to change any of this, I wouldn't actually, like, remove anything that they have already put in there. I would just have him start doing smaller bits of movement much sooner, like about now. And it would be very small. It would maybe just, like, a slight weight shift. Honestly, just have him look around. Like, have him, like, just sort of idly sort of tilt his head a little bit and just look out, even just a 30-degree angle in front of his face, just having his eyes drift a little bit, looking at just the gorgeous scenery. Because that's what we're doing, right? Half the time, when we're just standing in place, we're either waiting for something specific, in which case Link can, like, or at least should be able to be at ease and relax a little bit before we have more work for him to do, or he should just take in this gorgeous environment. Like, what would we be doing in this kind of scenario if we were just standing in place and we weren't allowed to, like, run around or move or do anything, but we were just going to stand here waiting? What sort of movement would we do? Also, because he's an amnesiac, like, that to me seems like an opportunity to have the character show curiosity. Like, being an amnesiac doesn't mean that you become an empty puppet, a robot who has zero thoughts and just goes back to complete factory reset neutral. It means you can't remember anything, and thus everything is kind of new and you're curious about it. And sure, yes, he's a guard, and so maybe like as a guard he has some fairly stiff posture, and he's used to standing in place for a long time, but he's also like a soldier and a warrior and a fighter who is out in the elements in a unfamiliar land that is dangerous. I don't think someone who is a guard would just be standing with stiff posture, looking straight forward as if they were guarding the queen. I think they would like be in survival mode, paying attention to their environment, checking around every corner to make sure there wasn't something that was going to try to eat him. Like, it's pretty hard to find a wrong answer, honestly, like when you're choosing what sort of animation your character should do, especially if you're choosing just very neutral, simple ones like looking around or stretching or whatever. Really, the only wrong answer, and I say wrong answer in some fairly large quotes here, because this isn't like a hard rule or anything, it really feels like the only wrong answer is not adding anything. Like, some folks in the comments had theorized that maybe one of the reasons he doesn't do an animation is because it would be distracting, like, you're probably standing there looking out at this cool environment, and having Link do a bunch of animations would make it feel like he's hurrying you, or would just be too attention grabby while you're trying to take in everything else that's in front of you. And I can sort of see that. I'm not entirely convinced, though, if for no other reason than the fact that Link actually did play an idle fidget in the previous video while I was looking at the environment and talking about it, and I didn't notice. But also, these animations don't have to be big or eye-catching. They don't have to be Sonic looking at you and tapping his foot and jumping off screen and giving you a game over. It really can just be little weight shifts, or tapping his boots, or adjusting his clothes. Like, even if the developer argument was that, hey, Link is just an empty vessel for the player, he's not supposed to have a whole lot of personality or emotional expression, the player is supposed to project onto him. Even then, I would say, okay, then have him do what the player is probably doing, enjoying the scenery. And just taking it easy for a moment. Reinforcing that thing that the game is encouraging you to do. And I don't think that is an argument that the developers would make, because they gave him a lot of expressive moments and behaviors in a lot of other contexts, like cooking, or freezing, or kicking a chest. Like, kicking a chest to open it when it's on its side, but if he's not wearing his boot, he'll hurt his toe. Like, that's cute. Little details like that are super cute, and show some personality. Anyway. No, it's not past time, but just wanted to chill by the fire is all. We can crouch by the fire. Can we get burned from here? No? Cool. How's it going, horses? Anyway, that's about all that I was really wanting to talk about further in Breath of the Wild, at least for now. We can totally come back to it. I do think, though, next time we come back, next time I do a video in this Playing Games Wrong series, actually somebody in the comments of the previous video suggested the term wrong play, and that's honestly kind of perfect. Welcome to my wrong play. But yeah, next time we do a wrong play thing, I'm thinking let's do a different game just for funsies. But I am kind of curious to maybe look into games that have clearly had an influence from Breath of the Wild, just to see the sort of differences that exist. Pokemon Legends Arceus or Genshin Impact or one of those other... Like, I haven't played nearly as much of those two, so I don't know nearly as much about them, like, off the bat. That could still be interesting. And then there's tons of other games too. Open world ones are just particularly interesting for this kind of examination because there are so many systems that can interact in so many different ways and so many different kinds of things that the developers had to account for in some way. But we can do all kinds of games. And I do expect that in the future, once we do start streaming, or getting ourselves set up to stream on Twitch, that the way the series will exist is I will do these as streams live, so that I can have more time to run around and folks in chat can make observations and I can interact with them and they can ask questions, and I think it'll just yield better results. And then we will have the VOD, the full-length VOD up on a different channel somewhere on YouTube, and on top of that, we'll probably make trimmed, edited versions like these to release here on PlayFrame, for those of you who just want the condensed version that these have been. That's kind of my thinking. I don't know when all that will happen. I'm just kind of doing these randomly right now whenever I feel like it. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it. Again, is my point. And I hope that you have a lovely day, and I will see you next time for Elden Ring, but then maybe later, another time, for more nonsense like this, if you've enjoyed it. Do take care, all of you, and goodbye!